かに新たな称号、これまでになかったことだ。
ありがたき幸せ。
ノア、お前がもう少し早く生まれてくれていたらな。
Noble Reincarnation. This was episode number 4. Okay, first off, once again, I understand this show is not gonna win a Pulitzer or a whatever the prize is, you know, for the best anime writing or the light novel writing, or it's not gonna win any, like, you know, anime of the year awards. Okay, acknowledge that. We're gonna grab that, we're gonna put it over here. Regardless, this is one of my like slow gems that I'm really loving. Like, this is gonna end up being, I think, you know, we're 4 episodes in. This is going to be probably one of my favorite animes of the season that I enjoyed the most. And it might end up being one of my favorite animes of the year. This is very reminiscent, I think, of other very similar anime. And I had one that I wanted to call out specifically. And it was about, it was a space isekai that happened a couple of seasons ago. And I'm trying to remember exactly what it was called. It was the Evil Lord. It was Evil Lord. It was the Evil Lord something. Yeah, Evil Lord of an Intergalactic Empire. That's one of my favorite shows. I absolutely love it. I've watched it, I think, like 3 times now. It's so good. This is gonna end up, for me at least, being in that same category, in that same vein. I am loving it. It just keeps getting better and better. So this episode, there's a lot of things that happened, but the main thing to note is I want to talk about the end of the episode. So 3 times throughout the episode, Noah was acknowledged by his father. He was originally given a crest about midway through the episode, and the crest was to be able to add a sword to his insignia. And that's something that nobody can do. It has to be given by the king, and it's super important. So it makes like your renown, think of like your fame level in like a video game, go like all the way up to the top. Then he was given the title of the Wise. So at the end of the episode, you know, Noah was able to fort and overcome all the different rebels and the people causing an uprising in Almeria, which is the fief that he runs. And he's basically like he's like the king of that domain, essentially, right? He's the governor, I guess you could say, of that domain. There was a uprising in that area, and because he was able to, through Leviathan, his sword, he was able to, you know, take down the rebel lord, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But through his ability to kind of like quell that and, you know, take care of it, he wanted everything to be done by the law, as opposed to the king, which was gonna, like, you know, execute everybody. And, you know, like, Order 66, you know what I mean? And Noah was like, no, we can't do that. We don't want to tarnish our name for revenge. Let's hold it by the law. Through that, you know, he was able to get the title of the Wise. So now he's the Wise Prince. On top of that, in the, I guess you can call it like a court, right? Like in the court order where he was making his, what do you call it? When he was making his decisions about what they're gonna do, the king, he announced like, oh, I wish that you were born much earlier. Basically saying, you know, that Noah, even though he's the 13th prince, has the potential to like supersede or like, you know, to succeed him, and be like the next potential king of the land. But that may be an impossibility based on the fact that he was born so late. But he wanted to make it known to everybody. That way, Noah can actually start to get a lot of supporters for, if that comes to pass, that he'll have a lot of people on his side, that even though there's 12 other siblings, 12 other potentials, that he's the best option. And you can see there were some people who didn't like that comment. So I was like, ooh, we're getting like the politics stuff. We're gonna get like some, you know, like not intermingling, but like inter like things happening between the princes and the princesses, and you know, like that political fight, you know what I mean? Even if it's not physical, it's just, you know, kind of happening in, you know, with people who are supporting whom. So like, that's cool. Then the episode finally wraps up, and the king is saying that there's another level to Leviathan. Like there's something else that's locked away, like another mode essentially, that like maybe Noah can handle and lock, because Leviathan's a crazy powerful weapon. I mean, it basically launched from like one country or like one city to another city. It launched a water move to like, you know, kill that guy, which I thought was incredible. So just all these different things, right? Like the politics of it, I think they're doing it so well. Noah's proving his point over and over again by making sound decisions. He's finding out how interwoven the king, which is his dad, really is within the domain of the kingdom. Like he finds out information like that. He's got spies and people everywhere. He's locked. So I think that's really cool. Last thing I'll talk about is Zoe, which is his maid. So another really cool thing that happened is through the uprising that was occurring, he made two main decisions. One through Byron, which was his he's like his second in command now that he was able to go like the commoner, you know, the guy who adopted a commoner girl. While he was talking to him, somebody comes to talk about the uprising. A soldier that comes from his domain, that comes directly to Noah and says like, hey, here's what's happening. My leader's causing it. I wasn't like, I came to you. And even though Noah already knew all that information, he rewarded that guy. He made sure that he was going to get healed and you know, fixed up, and rewarded him with 1,000, I forget what their coin is called, but 1,000 ren or something, I think is what they're called. And which is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And for context of how much money that is, in the episode a little bit later after that, Zoe is not baited, but she was, she tried to be bought off by bandits with 500 ren. Which I think Noah said, or I think it was either 10 or 30 ren is like a commoner's like, what do you call it? Income for the year. And you guys can correct me on that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was 300, but like basically she was given a lot of money, and his soldier was given a lot of money. And what that does is it proves if you're loyal to me, you will be rewarded, whether it's monetarily, glory, whatever, you'll be rewarded. So that he did really well with that, because now that guy's going to go talk about like, you know, here's what I did, and, you know, I was recognized for that. So anyway, Zoe was attempted to be bought off by the bandits. She's like, was threatened to be killed and all this other stuff. She comes immediately to Noah, right? He rewards her with 5,000 ren. And you know, that's his girl. Like that's his mate. Like that's his girl for life kind of thing. Like she's going to be his forever. And she's living up to that moniker of it because like she was able to come to him. So, you know, the plan was drug him. They're going to kidnap him, etc. So he's like, we're going to go through with the plan. You're going to do that to me. You know, I know what's going to happen now, thanks to you. You're going to go through with it. You're going to get the F out. I'll handle it from here. So she does it. You know, she follows orders from, you know, from her guy. And he was able to overcome it with Leviathan and his weapons. And he was able to just annihilate them. And eventually, even though Zoe still brought the army, and then that's what led to him using Leviathan to take on the guy. But overall, this episode was awesome. I think this episode was like, to me, and not overglazing it, you know, because I guess you can find some faults. I think this was an 8 out of 10. I think this was a really great episode. I was locked in the whole episode. I loved everything that happened. It's so good. Definitely want to acknowledge the show is still like a 7 at best, maybe like a 6.5 out of 10. And I totally get that, right? Like it's pretty by the numbers. Like we can have a whole conversation, a whole 10-minute conversation about like why it's not doing anything spectacular, and it's pretty much just another one of these shows, etc., etc. But I'm enjoying it. I love it. This is gonna be one of those shows. At least like for me, I feel like the writing on the wall is gonna be one of those shows, like Wiseman's Grandchild, like Eighth Son. That again, I know these shows are like 6.5, 7 out of 10. Like they're like maybe even 5.5 out of 10. Like they're not that good, but my enjoyability is like an 8 or a 9. Like they're like some of my favorites that I end up rewatching, and I end up rewatching these types of shows more than I do the FMAs or Attack on Titans or like whatever like the people's like magnum opuses are. Like typically, like I don't rewatch those. I'm rewatching the Ari Ferrettas and the Tanya Saga the Evil, and you know the ones that I just mentioned, the Gates of the World and the Knights in Magic. These are the ones that I watch over and over and over. And I just really love it. I feel like this is going to be one of those ones, like the Evil Lord in the Intergalactic Empire, you know, about a few seasons ago. So yeah, those are my thoughts, my friends. I'm leaving you guys in those thoughts. Let me know your guys in the comments below. I'll see you next week for episode number 5.